Kele Sewell never intended for alcohol to define him or push him to the brink of suicide, but it did. With genetics conspiring against him, he turned into an alcoholic just like his father before him. It all started when he was very young.
I was surrounded by alcohol. The refrigerator was full of beer many times. I remember as a toddler going to the refrigerator, reaching up, taking a beer down and taking it to my dad. He would leave it open and I would take sips out of it myself. I remember drinking a full beer at 6 or 7 years old.
Kele had few friends growing up. That had a lot to do with not being able to bring friends home and a childhood filled with his dad's broken promises.
I loved him very much. He was a kind man, but as a child I learned that I couldn't count on him because he had a problem, and I said that would never be me. I said I would never do that. Looking back, I had a void in my life. I had a hole inside of me, and there was something missing. I didn't know what it was, but I was always pursuing that, something to put inside there.
By the time he became a teenager, Kele was filling that void with football, friends, and beer. Any promises he'd made to himself about not becoming an alcoholic were quickly fading.
What are you on your first?
You know, when they would drink one beer, I would drink two, and I very naturally fit right into that role. I was a partier.
At age 17, Kele was introduced to prescription pain pills after an operation. When they ran out, he found other sources.
I got to the point where I became addicted. I went from taking things to feel better to taking things because I had to.
Kele had always done well in school, which made it easy for him to mask his drug and alcohol addictions. He even managed to graduate from medical school without anyone knowing he had a problem. But Kele knew.
I just didn't want to live like I was. I was so ashamed. The shame and the guilt were like carrying around 10,000 pounds on my shoulders. I was just so ashamed that I'd become like my dad.
Kele did become a doctor. He married, had a daughter, and later divorced. As each year passed, he became more hopeless and convinced he would never change. Eventually, he decided on suicide.
I thought the world would be better off without me, and certainly my family would have been better off. I mean, my daughter would have got $1 million, and she would have been in great shape, I thought. That was my mindset. And so I went in the closet and put a gun in my mouth, and I was going to shoot myself, and my daughter walked in, and I put the gun away.
Kele finally decided he needed professional help and went to an outpatient alcohol treatment center. There, he found a Bible.
I just picked it up and opened it. And I didn't know what I was reading. I couldn't read. I was hurting so bad. And I got in my car and I drove around. I didn't know what I was going to do. I've never been so lost in my life.
God help me!
And I screamed in my car, God help me, God help me, as loud as I could scream. And something happened.
A few days later, Kele turned on the TV and began to watch a Christian program.
It was called the 700 Club. I'd never watched the show or paid any attention to it. And Gordon said, if you died today, where are you going to spend eternity? And I couldn't answer that question. I had no idea. And he said, if you don't know, pray with me.
Kele prayed to receive Jesus as Savior that day, and over the next few weeks, as he continued to watch the 700 Club, the truth of God's forgiveness began to sink in.
It gave me a tremendous sense of peace. I hear this, and I know some people may not believe it, but I promise I went outside and I looked, and the sky was blue and the grass was green, and it hadn't been that way for a long time.
It's now been almost a decade since Kele prayed to become a Christian.
God set me free from the bondage and the slavery of addiction. I fully believe I was demon possessed. I was doing things I didn't want to do, and that's gone. I'm free of that.
And Kele's relationship with his dad has been restored too. They enjoy working together on projects and simply doing what fathers and sons are meant to do.
My dad called me one day and said, do you read the Bible? And I said, I do. I had to sit down. And he said, I found a guy on television that he reads the Bible and I listen to him. And I said, well, what do you hear? And he said, I'm sorry. And from that day forward, that was about 7 years ago, he's been my best friend.
Today, Kele is involved in a successful medical practice and has even authored several books. But he says all of that means nothing without the faith that has made him into a whole person.
I found what I was looking for. I found God. I was substituting football, money, alcohol, drugs for God. I found it. Well, I should be dead. I should be dead. There's no reason for me to be on this earth other than just the absolute, unwavering kindness of Jesus Christ.